Tomorrow's Yesterday is a simple episode, a bit gimmicky, but I'd be lying if I said it isn't fun to watch. I mean, I don't consider it one of the top tier episodes. It's one of these premises that like you think is kind of cute and interesting, but at the end of the day, you're like, it's too easy a premise. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just so telling that they came up with this early on. Oh, what if a person from contemporary Earth, or close enough to it, happened to run in with the Enterprise? What would they think? And they have to take him back time and all the dilemmas that are associated with that. It's just all a bit too sort of obvious and, like I said, easy for me. Like, it's not the most creative idea. It's kind of just like sort of a go-to idea, and it's not the most revelatory drama. Although I know it is, there's a lot of intrinsic sort of tension with it, but I don't know, if I had a slew of ideas lined up for a show like Star Trek, I'd like to think that this wouldn't make the top of the list for so much that can be done with Star Trek as a premise. And even if the original series didn't always display this, it was demonstrated by the shows which could sooner achieve such storylines via their increased techno-aesthetic capabilities. Take Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Well, of course, we have to feel blessed that the original Star Trek series had the VFX limitations that it had, because it could tell these sort of more slow-paced, measured, and sort of meaningful character stories about the inevitable crises which arise when human beings attempt to explore uncharted territory, as whether that's, externally of ourselves, going outward, or whether it's attempting to attain a greater fluidity and less barriers and knots within the, let's say, collective unconscious. Tomorrow's Yesterday is fun, and it's an interesting precursor to certain scenes of Star Trek for the Voyage Home in some ways. Although, again, like I said, would I can call it a top tier episode of TOS? No. Would I call it a top tier episode of this season? No, but it's relatively solid, and I think it's a reasonable demonstration of the sort of stride that the show had achieved at this stage. The first quarter of the season is fairly dire, but I think by this time its strengths really amounted to something quite admirable, noble, and very thoroughly entertaining rather consistently.